Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled life. Hello, and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening to Your Yes-Filled Life. It is truly my hope that you find more of those yes moments in your own life towards your yes-filled life. And so I promise to bring you engaging content that's thoughtful and researched, interesting and entertaining guests, and always leave you either with a new plan, a new idea, perhaps some new inspiration, or maybe meeting somebody new that you want to connect with on the podcast. So I'll tell you about Ashleigh in just one second, but first, I want to invite you to spend 10 minutes. That's right, 10 minutes to feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your energy and your empathy. I've created a free PDF guide for you called the Energy Audit, and you can discover in just 10 minutes what is draining your energy and what's fueling your energy so that you can make more conscious choices about how to spend your time, energy, and bandwidth. You can learn more and download your PDF guide at brendawinkle.com/audit, AUDIT. Go grab that guide. Now, let me get to the part where I get to introduce you to Ashleigh. So Ashleigh Renard is a former figure skating coach and choreographer. Ashleigh took the quest for perfection into her marriage and motherhood with some disastrous and hilarious results. Through her books and her viral Keeping It Hot video series, she's built a committed mass following who tune in daily to her fresh, no-fuss advice on everything from keeping monogamy hot to calibrating to a two-household family post-divorce to building businesses and partnerships. Introducing Ashleigh Renard. Hey, Ashleigh, it is so good to see you.
Brenda, it is so nice to see you too.
And I'm looking at your beautiful new background and your beautiful new home. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to hear the story of how this happened and just to catch up and connect. But before we dive in, I have a question for you.
Yes.
And I can't wait for this answer because I've been thinking it could go 12 different ways. What is one thing that either you did or didn't do that has led you to your yes-filled life?
Oh, the one thing that I have done, Brenda, and this is the story we're going to talk about today. I have honored the little girl inside of me who has thought in different situations since she's been really little. Wait a minute. That's not right here. Wait a minute. That little canary in a coal mine, wait a minute, your spidey sense is off in a little bit way or a big way.
Yeah.
What I have done in the past 6 years of my life is sweep out energetically anything that doesn't feel right.
Yes, you have. And, we haven't sat down and talked since I think November of 2022 when we were together in Bel Air.
Mhm.
And you feel different. I feel different. Like we're in a different timeline than we were in November of
We
2022.
we are in an absolutely different timeline, and that it's so interesting. Like that is where my trajectory split. And my upcoming
Mhm.
book is
Mhm.
called Split. My first memoir is called Swing, a memoir of doing it all. My next book is Split, a memoir in pieces. Okay, and the name Split means a lot of different things.
Mhm.
Okay. For our tarot enthusiasts out there, people who know tarot archetypes, the main cover of Split is going to be the Three of Swords.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
It is about all of the breakups and
Yeah.
breakdowns that really go right to the heart of our humanness. Like the things that hurt the most. That's what the Three of Swords is about in the tarot for
Right.
people. The archetype is the heartbreaks that cut the deepest.
Mhm.
Okay. And the last time you and I spoke, I was just a couple months away from realizing my marriage. No, I was a couple months away from deciding I didn't want the struggle of trying to stay married to
Mhm.
Manny anymore, while I was also facing the challenge of co-parenting three boys. Two at that point were teenagers, and one, we still have one who's not quite a teenager. In order to parent with integrity, I had to be on a different side of the table from my
Mhm.
husband, and I
Mhm.
couldn't be married to him anymore and say, nope, I'm going to take back agency and I'm going to say, no, we're going to parent like this. I had felt my place on the family totem pole shift when my oldest son became taller than me and entered high school. I suddenly felt like I was like third in charge in my home, like behind my
Ooh.
husband and my child, who's now, Brenda, now the kid has hair on his balls, so now he's ahead of me. Like, what? Wait, what is happening here? And I was looking around and I was like, wait a minute. So I'm gonna be lowest one in this whole family. Like that's the setup. That's the paradigm that my Greek
Oh.
husband had been under. And even though we had bumped up against some cultural things while we'd been together 20 years, Brenda. It wasn't until we were parenting teenage boys together
Mhm.
that his underlying misogyny reached threshold levels that I hadn't seen before. Right? Like I had, he
Mhm.
was, when we're just hanging out with little kids, it's different than like
Right.
when
Totally.
right? He would be sitting on the couch with our son, who is like now the same size as him, and I'd be talking to our son about his homework, and my his father, my now ex-husband, would be like, "Oh, honey, could you talk to us about homework after the game?" Like to me. So it
Uh-huh. Like
the
your parenting is inconveniencing them.
like the boys are watching sports. You're not going to have anyone listen to you now, yappy yap, silly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was like I lived in Barstool Sports for a bit, Brenda. It was like, I am not doing all this for this.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because
Be
it's
laughing
so
with me.
relatable. It's so relatable. And when you said that you were honoring your little girl and the part that looked the inner Ashleigh, the little girl Ashleigh, and every time something was like off a little bit, I'm just curious. I want to go back there for a second and then let's pick up your story. Was it always easy to listen? Because oftentimes I have found with my own little girl, she says things that are very inconvenient.
God, it wasn't easy to listen because I hated the part of me that was so needy.
Mm.
I didn't call it the little girl part of me. I called it like the lazy, weak part of me. Like the
Oh,
whining part of me, like the part of me that can't just get it together. They can't just
oh,
get over
mm-hmm,
it. Like, so
mm-hmm.
no, it was the part of me I detested. And then uh, through swing and renegotiating my marriage and the things I wrote about there and really examining my relationship with perfectionism and how it played into my work and my own mothering and my own experience of being mothered. I think swing is sort of like mommy issues. And then now split, this is like daddy issues. Like, wait a minute. Who's going to take care of me? Wait a minute, it's me. Am I happy about that or sad about that? Just
Uh-huh.
all of the different things. But the way that it came to a head in my marriage was I'm very good at sustaining myself on very little. Like I can be very happy with not very much input, right? I
Hmm.
think it's my
Hmm.
Sag rising. It's sort of like this a bit of a golden retriever energy. Like just give me a hint that we're gonna play and I'm happy for a bit, you know? That is my good nature that like I lead with in the world and that I led
Hmm.
with my family and in my marriage. Like, oh no, oh, okay, I'll do a little more, but we're gonna play ball, right? Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
reciprocal at
Yeah.
some point. Um, so when it was never reciprocal and I would have feelings about it, I would feel really embarrassed and weak and I would feel bad that that person on some level must know they're disappointing me too and still they can't get it together. So then I would have this like secondary kind of shame for my
Hmm.
caregiver or my husband or whoever it was who I was like they know this isn't like kosher, you know, but I'll act like it's okay. And so it was like I kind of knew I was being codependent even from a young age, but I was like I thought I was the only one equipped to kind of be
Oh,
level-headed in a lot of situations.
oh, I love this. So one of the things that I have discovered in the 2 years since we've talked, that codependency is sometimes masking deep empathy, unmanaged empathy. And I see that in you. Not unmanaged empathy, but in the version of yourself where you're sitting on the couch with your teenage son watching sports, talking about the homework, and your husband's like, "Hey, let's not do that right now." Um,
Unmanaged empathy. I love that so much, Brenda, because it was like as a little kid, my alarm bells would be like going off for a lot of different people at once. Like, you know, wow, my mom really doesn't feel settled, or my dad is stressed about this, and my brother's struggling, and you know, I could sense, you know, from people. So then, yeah, your empathy is up, like you're kind of in panic level, like for
mhm,
these other
mhm.
people, right? Because you're like, wow, they're not feeling ease, right?
Right. And so, how did that impact you? If they were not feeling ease, then
I would dance. I would dance. Okay.
yeah.
Whether dancing was dancing out of the frame, being so busy with work and school and jobs and all these things, like a lot of responsibilities for a kid. Like I had two jobs by the time I was 11. It was like, I have an 11-year-old now, and I'm like, he still can't put his shirt on the right way. I'm like, you know, his t-shirt's like high on the front. I'm like, you can't tell, can you? So it's just we're all different people. So for me, I either made myself so busy that I never had like a moment of leisure, so I would have a target on my back. I just was like, you know, that was I was
Hmm.
moving, like a moving target is
Yes.
one of the ways I would dance. And I
Hmm.
would do some great things and I would be like kind of flashy, but I would also kind of be on the perimeter. Or I would be right in someone's business, like with my hands, like
Mm-hmm.
literally cleaning up the biggest mess that they've ever had with them. And I could do it with a smile on my face and I could have good stamina, but afterwards I would feel completely depleted. Like I used to
Yeah.
take my father-in-law to all his doctor's appointments. And I said I was so happy to do it, but I realized, oh, wow, just like picking him up and talking to my mother-in-law, then debriefing her after and making I was zonked, Brenda. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize, wow, I'd been running on that kind of like energetic exhaustion for years and just like
Hmm.
running right, plowing right through it.
And it's a little bit like chasing the gold star, like always, if I do this thing, I'm going to be good enough. If I do this thing, I'll be worthy of love and belonging and acceptance and doing the things I want.
That and because this is something that's just coming up in my energy work right now, there's also this familiarity with exhaustion, or there's
Right.
the familiarity with sort of like the like I was just talking about, kind of like rushing out of frame. Like there's a lot of protection in being busy, or protection in
Totally.
like really working hard, like so that no one else can ask you for something. You know, there's like, you know, right? There's
Yeah. You
no
don't
more
have to
edges.
say no if you're just so busy that you can't possibly have a space. I mean, so that it takes away all of the potential conflicts of saying, no, I don't want to, or no, I
Or
can't, or,
people appreciate you more when you say yes, Brenda. If they know you're so busy,
oh, that
then your
too.
yes is like a
That too.
supercharged. Yeah, it's like it's very I love seeing, and this is something in this theater of a home that I'm in alone a lot of the time because my kids are only here every other week. I really get to see the play out of my own consciousness of like, because if there's a mess, it's my mess, Brenda. Like I can't blame it on anybody, right? But for the first few months that I was here, I'd be like, there are dishes in the sink. And I'd be like, and who are we mad at? Because it would be you. And it's like, oh, wow, I had that conditioned response to sort of be annoyed with whoever could be
Right.
annoying.
It's outsourcing the responsibility.
So it's been radically lonely and radically empowering because it's like, okay, wait, how happy am I on a day alone when nobody
Uh-huh.
bothers me? Right? How
Yeah.
happy can I be just on my own? Or will I always be bringing something into the frame and something into my brain to irritate me, even if I really do have like a whole long day of peace in a quiet house?
I relate to this so much. It wasn't until
Tell
my
me.
my daughter moved out in October of 2022. So right before you and I were sitting at the table in Hotel Bel Air. And when she moved out, I was initially frustrated and I was like, gosh, she left so many messes. And then it was about like 2 weeks later, I I sort of had a heart to heart with myself and I was like, wait a minute. She's been out of the house for over a month. There's literally no one here to blame but me.
So you had the same experience because it's this
Exactly.
conditioned response. And that other person usually is kind of messy. So it's like reinforced,
Right.
right? And then when you realize you're having that same physiological response when there's no stimuli, you're like, the call is coming from inside the house.
That's right. That's right. The call is coming from inside the house. Okay. So this is so good. And I'm realizing you and I just jumped right in. Listeners, in case you don't know, Ashleigh has been a guest on the podcast before, back when it was called Waves of Joy. And she shared about her book, Swing. And I'll link that episode in the show notes and I'll link the book in the show notes. But Ashleigh, it has been so fun to watch you evolve and to watch you pivot and to watch this house that you're sitting in come into beingness.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring, like truly inspiring.
Thank you. I think what's happened, Brenda, is I've jumped timelines
Yeah, totally.
over and over and over. I really think. For your audience who knows about jumping quantum timelines or believes in it, follow along. For those who are like, what the heck? Okay, did you watch Quantum Leap when you were a kid? It was a good one, right? And you could go different places. All right. The only way I have been able to achieve goals that have out tricked me for a long time. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I
Like
do.
stubborn goals, stubborn goals. The only way I have been able to achieve stubborn goals is to act as if they already happened.
That's
Okay?
right.
So
And so I
so
have a question before you go on. Is it
yeah.
acting as if, I mean, I know it is, but what amount are you
Oh, yeah.
allowing yourself to feel as though they already are there?
Well, here's the thing. I say act as if because I am such a feeling bird, Cancer moon, okay?
Oh, me too.
Um,
Me
okay.
too.
Oh, there we go. Hi. 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 Earth
Hi.
hurts too much, doesn't it? Being human, I've got notes for the
Uh,
operators
that's
to
right.
say, too hard. Too hard on the heart it is. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
it's too tender, the human heart. Okay. Um, so I say act as if because I in Clifton Strengths, my number one strength is activator. Okay, I am a doer. I learn through doing. I learn through doing. I learn through doing. Okay, so I say act as if because what I do is I I do this with my clients and I do this with myself. And this is how I got my literary agent. This is how I decided to break up with my literary agent. This is how my platform exploded by 55,000 people in 45 days. This is how I do anything that works, Brenda. Okay, anything that works is because this is the place I strategize from. I pretend, okay, so if I was going to do my book Split right now, okay, if I want to finish that book and launch into the world the dream book that it could be to, like, you know, launch me into the next part of my career, what I would do is I would imagine that we are 2 years out from that book launching. Okay. So I would imagine we are in spring 2027. All right. And my book came out 24 months ago and it hit New York Times and I had like a run and it was this and it was that. And then the show came out in the fall and Broadway critics were interested in my one woman ice show, Brenda. Okay. Like, I'm just going to be like, okay, all that happened, all that happened. But I want to be 2 years past that because for me, even in the satisfaction of imagining a goal being achieved, there's so much anxiety and uncertainty around it. Of whether there'll be jealousy, whether I really made money, whether there'll be haters that come up, you know, from behind the hedge, what, you know, I need to say the great thing happened and then life has continued to be great. Like the bottom didn't fall out, nothing. I have to pretend like then smooth sailing and ask myself, what's next? If I already knew, yes, this is a hell of a book. Yes, this is a hell of an ice theater production, because that's my dandy idea, to star in an ice show that I write and direct and produce by the time I'm 45 years old, which is this fall. Because I've produced a lot of ice shows, I've skated in a lot of ice shows, I've done that, but it's like, oh, to do that with my own work and kind of adult ice theater, it's this thing, this crazy fun idea that I was able to think of by putting myself in the act as if.
Yes.
If Split is the book that hits New York Times and then Swing maybe hits New York Times too after that, if it's the book that launches the next part of my career, what do I really want to do with my time? And I was like, I want to choreograph another ice show. And I was like, oh, well, then let's just do it at the same time.
Yes.
Cute. We're condensing time. We are putting our passions into the present, because I think that's when we are the most lit up. That's when we're the most ourselves. I'm not just a storyteller. I'm not just a memoirist. I'm not just a figure skater. I am a bunch of those things. And I'm a spiritual seeker. And I am a goddess worshiper. And I am a dog lover. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes. Yes.
Bringing all of my max joy components into every day. Brenda, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like concentrate it. Like I'm going to get fresh air every day because I love fresh air. And you know what I love doing the most out in fresh air? Some kind of physical labor around my yard. I want to be carrying heavy stuff and kind of huffing and puffing, but then at the end I can be like, oh, wow, all those pots are over here now. Like I want to have a visual, like, you did it, kid, and kind of be like, oh, you know, a little like tired, and like that is one of like the prime ways that I can live out my experience in my 3D body.
Oh my gosh.
Doing that.
Yes. I relate to this. So I decided in early 2024, I was like, I have said for the last 2 years, I want to travel full time. And I can think of 700 reasons why that's a terrible idea. And the fact is, I want to. And when I let that lead, everything, the universe conspired to make it happen. And I ended up being able to have these beautiful experiences all over the country, just me and my dog and my Prius, meeting all kinds of people, staying in Airbnbs and hotels and with my friends. And the best part, the hardest part, but the best part was I got to spend the last month of my dad's life with him. And if I would not have given myself permission to just do the thing I wanted to do, that wouldn't have happened. And so there's something really powerful about what you're saying, that we stop waiting. We don't wait until the thing happens to experience the joy. We just do it.
Exactly. And it's funny because it's such what we're talking about right now is such a like pushed upon component of law of attraction or Abraham Hicks or The Secret or anything. So many spiritual teachers say, you know, act as if it's in the present, or imagine it's in the present, or write your gratitude journal like it already happened. But I think if we're still holding ourselves back from satisfaction or ease or ways that we would allow ourselves to live an ordinary day because it hasn't happened yet, our subconscious knows. So
That's right.
I started doing this thing. Actually, it was before I got my agent for swing. I said, "Oh, I really want to get a custom closet." This was in my old house, and I had an old, it was a big closet, but the organization was just awful, and it always was messy, and it was like everything exposed. And um, I just felt stressed every time I looked in that closet. And I said, you know what, when I get a book deal for swing, I'm going to redo my closet. And as soon as I said that, I said, no, I'm going to redo my closet right now, and I'm going to pay the money, and I'm going to spend $5,000 on a closet because, and then I'm going to make that book happen. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like just spend the money before you have it. But like, you know, I wasn't spending all my money, but I was spending all my wish points, Brenda.
That's right.
The thing I wanted more than anything was that closet. And I was like, so that is one of the things that I tell myself in this house. This house is big and beautiful. And I tell you, I cast for this house a year and a half before I moved in. And what I did was I printed out a picture of this gorgeous, modern kind of craftsman type house. And in the front of it, I printed it out from Pinterest. It was a house that when I showed Manny and each one of my kids, everybody went, oh, like blew their hair back, sort of like everybody was like impressed by the house. Okay. There were different architectural styles and different houses that I showed everybody, but this was the one that made all of us ooh and ah. Okay. So I printed a picture of that. And then on the front, I cut out a beach photo of me and Manny and the kids and his parents and our pets on the beach at vacation. Okay. And I put us all, like we're in beach chairs, on the driveway of the house. I glued it on, okay, with the glue stick. The back of the house, the back of the piece of paper, I wrote down everything I wanted in our dream house. Okay. This one sentence, I wrote room for me and Manny and Jack and Luke and Nico. And then I put my in-laws' names and I put my pets' names. And I was like, urch. Room for all of us.
Oh.
Period.
Oh, that feels different.
And that is the piece of paper that I burned. And when I burnt it in my backyard in this little tiny cauldron, it was the first time I had burned at home as a part of my casting or manifestation or intentions or wish setting or rituals around the moon. Just because my office was on the second floor of our house, and I would usually do my ritual work there. I would burn with friends for years on new moon or full moons, but this was the first time I burned like a proper witch, you know, on my own back patio. As soon as I lit the match, sirens blared from all directions. From all directions. And of course, I have this tiny little cauldron and fire. It's not because of my fire, but it was the sign. Okay, maybe I should do more of this, like be this intentional. Get every sentence right when I am deciding what I want to wish. Like really, like because that was a sign when I was like, what feels exactly in resonance? And there was something about that sentence listing the members of the that I was like, I don't know if this is too inclusive or too exclusive. It's all of us. Do you know who's in this house on its fullest day?
Tell me.
Me in my big master suite up there. There's a balcony too. It's like I'm goddamn Evita up there.
It's gorgeous.
My 3 kids in the kids wing, okay, and my 2 pets. And this house was built by a veterinarian, so all the floors are heated. There's room for all of us. And I don't even think there's room for a boyfriend. I don't even think there's room for a lover. I think this is the shape of this house has helped me sort of figure out like what is the shape of my life and the shape of my family.
Well, and the thing I'm hearing right now is like healing house. It's healing house. Yeah.
This house was built the year I got married, Brenda. And I think that is a really nice detail. And the woman who built it, she actually got pancreatic cancer and passed like right after it was done.
Oh.
And I sometimes think like, okay, Lynn, if you could be here bossing me around all day, like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, put up Christmas lights. I'm like, all right,
Done and done.
She never got a chance.
So there's a couple things that I want to kind of unpack here. One is you talking about the wish and the manifestation and the law of attraction and the rituals and the moon. And, one of the things that my own personal journey has included is there was very closet energy work. Like I have always believed in energy. I've always been able to communicate with the other side. I've always had psychic knowings coming in. And yet there was something about it that I always wanted to hide it behind science or hide it behind like socially acceptable kinds of things. And I've noticed a big change in you over the last several years where you are out of the spiritual closet, so to speak. And that resonates for me as well. And I'm curious what that journey feels like on this side, because I know a lot of our listeners are kind of, they're not necessarily in the spiritual closet, but they may not be totally out.
Okay, there was a big change for me when I started referring to myself as a witch in jest. Okay. A witch in a funny way, right? Or witchy. That was a threshold. And honestly, just a few months before that, a friend who I really love posted something that said, have you ever thought only witchcraft will save us? And I had this gut feeling like, oh God, you shouldn't really call it witchcraft. Like, people are gonna, and I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Whenever I have an aversion to something, I go, wait a minute, let's lean in. What is that about?
Right.
It's something that like, oh, I can't, if I'm uncomfortable with a friend using a word, what is wrong with me in that word? Right.
What's the trigger about? Yeah.
What's the trigger about? Because it's always something. It's always something juicy too. It's like, it's like choose your own adventure, right? When you're like, what trigger? Yay. It's like you're gonna find something like a side quest. And then I really started thinking and I was like, you know what? It really is the word that feels like it makes the most sense. And so then I started using like, witchy or really good friend of mine called this house Witch Mansion. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I started leaning into like using that word in a funny way. Even have a t-shirt that has these little cartoon witches on it and it says girls will be girls. And just like wearing that out, people really look at me and then they kind of like this. And it's like, yeah, you a little scared? You scared because you believe it or you don't? And it's like, it's this edge kind of thing that I've like started like kind of wearing as like, oh yeah, a little, like a woman who may be unpredictable in a way you don't like. Yes, I will wear that. I will wear that badge. That to me, and part of it is I've moved out of some patriarchal systems that I was in for a really long time, out of my traditional family system. I have no contact with my parents and my siblings. I've moved out of a marriage. I do feel a bit like a woman gone feral, like nobody's the boss of me. Like it really feels.
It's kind of fun, isn't it?
It is. And it's like, what's the way you're the wildest? And it's like, you're a witch, like the little kids, the kids and the pets on the street love you. But some of the, people might be like, I don't know what she's up to. I love that idea that I may not be like super sunshiny and palatable to everybody, which growing up, I just wanted to be sunny I wanted to be the sun. I just wanted to be the sun for the whole world.
I wanted to be liked, and I was willing to do anything, not only to be liked, but I also needed people to be okay because it's how I felt safe. If they were okay, I was safe.
Yes. And what I love about ritual, what I love about ritual is that a couple times a month, I get straight and honest with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I write out like, what do I want? Like more than anything, like here's where I am, where are the gaps? Like where am I wanting? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, get excruciatingly clear on what the perfect picture looks like. Okay. Not just I want something different. No, I think I really love taking the time to ask myself, nope, get clarity, nope, because I have such a busy brain and going around in my day, just like we were saying with the conditioning and looking at a mess and wanting to blame a person who's not even there. Your brain does that all the time. Will tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. You'll kind of like bump up against the same old walls. But having a real like come to Jesus with yourself every 2 weeks makes you go, well, no, I don't even want that anymore. I got clear. No, I'm not telling myself I want that just because, I thought I did before or whatever. It's
Right.
like, you sort of have your coordinates, like you're calibrated to where you want to go. And from like a really quantum standpoint, my imagined code for jumping timelines is when you can imagine fully a certain percentage of the details, because you don't need to know every detail, but you have to be sure. And every detail that you've imagined, your heart lines up with it as an absolute yes. You no longer have reservations about it. So, and the thing is, the first time you imagine each of these, your nervous system might go berserk. But then it's leaning into, okay, if I get that, I know other people may be jealous or other people will say this or that, but do I really want that? Yes. Okay. What I do, I call it alchemizing, is it feel all like, it's like, I call it alchemizing the fear, alchemizing the downside in that timeline. Okay. And to me, it's almost like you're putting your head like through a waterfall into like the next timeline. Like here I am, right? And it's like I'm peeking in and I'm going to lean into that discomfort. And usually I feel it like right in here, like under my solar plexus, right? And it's like, no, okay, just take it. And it's like, okay, you're just going to feel it. No, how bad would that feel? How bad would that feel? And it's just like, turn it up to max sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And within like 90 seconds, usually just like an emotion, coursing through your body, it's like, oh, it doesn't hurt as much or it doesn't sting as much.
There's
Or
tons of research to back what you're saying.
Tell me.
So there's neurological and psychological research that says that if you measure emotion in the body by the markers in the brain and in hormones, even the most difficult emotions, when you let them flow, last 90 seconds. The thing that causes true suffering is not letting yourself feel the emotion, because then you're like kind of feeling the emotion, like with you sitting on the couch in the opening story with Manny and your oldest son, like not letting yourself feel that heaviness of realizing they're not listening to you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And he never will want Jack to listen to me like he listens to him. Like having, respecting your mother the way you respect your father was never in the playbook, right? When I can only dip into that in small doses. I have to sit and feel it completely, because it's like, it's very heartbreaking,
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. And it's like you're on the edge of a contraction over and over and over instead of letting yourself feel the whole thing.
That's right. It's like bracing, and then bracing causes so much pain.
Oh, yes. And so it's when I let myself feel the good, the bad, the indifferent. Wait a minute. How would that really feel if that happened? That's when I get clarity. Wait, do I want that? Do I not? What it does is it loosens up the attachment and the aversion.
That's right.
Both, because We
when
want it, but we don't want it. We want to be living it is what we want. We want to
right.
like know how good it's going to be because it's so good right now. It's good after good after good after good. Like that's where we really want to
Yeah.
get into.
So from your perspective, what is the relationship between taking the inspired action after you have dreamed into, felt into, lived into the goal? What is that relationship?
For me, I'm a slave. I am a slave to what my consciousness tells me to do. If
Okay.
I have done,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
I
So,
am. It is. You do not ask that hard and then not do the job.
oh my God. Yes. Yes. You do not sit on the meditation pillow
No,
and practice being. You have to go
no.
take some action.
And it's probably going to be something different. So the first different idea that comes into your life after you petition the sun gods or the fire gods or, Saint Joseph to find you a new house. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The very first inclination you have, you go. Like, you know what? Like I mean, used a golden retriever example before, but like you are a working breed dog at that point. You have said, I am hungry for this. Show me this, show me the place to go for it, right? Like give me
Yes.
the scent. Give me the
Yes.
scent, man. You can't be like, oh, I don't know if I asked for pepperoni today. You know what I mean? It's like the nose doesn't lie. I'm mixing so many metaphors, but it is this really primal, visceral thing, almost like, you like silence your human mind and calm your nervous system. You silence your human mind as much as you can. You calm your nervous system. And you feel like this divine pull, whether it's our own fate or our own wiring or our own VR headset that we've been programmed with, or it is just a crazy idea that Meat Suit Ashleigh has this year. Whatever, I don't care. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Because
I
even if
do.
it's crazy Meat Suit Ashleigh, she is super fun to live with.
She is super fun and she's delightful and lovable.
She's fun to be. Like, I don't know if you want to live with me, but like I love being me. Do you know what I mean?
I
And
do.
that's the
Because I feel
difference.
that way about Meat Soup Brenda. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a good time.
Oh, for you to be. That's
That's
right.
right.
Right. And I don't need to be a good time for anyone else. Like, I don't need anyone else to prove, like, with their behavior, like, you're
Mm-hmm.
worth committing to. I'm like, I am my goddamn favorite. I am my favorite. And I'm so glad that I'm the custodian of me this time because I'm a handful. And I do I do appreciate the challenge. And I'm glad I'm not in anybody else's hands.
I love that. I feel that way too. I'm a handful and I own it and I'm okay with it.
My hands are full with this. I got me. You know what I mean? But it's
I do. I love it. Ashleigh, I could go on and on and on, and I want to. And also, I want to make sure that I give listeners a chance to connect with you. Where can they find you?
they can find me at Ashleigh Renard on Instagram. So Ashleigh Renard, I say now spelled the smug way. Ashleigh, Ashleigh, all the extra letters in Ashleigh. Okay. You can find me on Instagram. I'm probably going to be doing a project in my house, maybe up a ladder. So just check my stories, see what I'm up to. The thing that I'm the most excited about right now, besides writing a new book and starring in a one-woman skating show, is I am helping so many brilliant people launch their books.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I
Mm-hmm.
always come back to and the thing I love more than anything is coaching, because one of the things I'm good at is seeing the light and the talent and the potential in other people. So when someone comes to me and they've written a story that they want to share with the world, I say, okay, what do you love about this story? And then I see what lights them up and I'm like, oh my God. And you know what lights me up? You know what I think other people are going to be? Okay. And then I act like the connector between them, helping them shine in their unique way, which it's hard sometimes to be unique, especially on social media, because like you wonder like if you're supposed to like please the algorithm or be like other people or what I do. And because I coached figure skating for 30 years, my clients, they feel my competence, they feel my security
Mm-hmm.
in saying,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I know how know how to make you look fantastic. And I know how to get and keep the audience's attention on you, on you. I know how to make you the star. And everybody does it differently. Some people are great at face to camera. Some people, I'm like, you know what? I want you to take a still photo and write everything. I want your writing out there, not your video. It's different for everybody. So I am helping to launch 9 different books in the next 18 months, Brenda.
Amazing.
So if anybody wants social media help or social media and book editing help, because I founded an agency with my friend, Jamie McGillan, who's also my favorite editor. So I have editing support for writers too. That's something that's just filling me up so much.
That's amazing. And I just want to recognize for a moment how you have given yourself permission to pivot. And I want to celebrate that because so many times it's easy for us to get into our heads and think, oh, I've been doing this thing and, I've been riding this horse a long time and I just have to stay on the horse, even though the horse doesn't feel like the horse I want to be on. And I just want to celebrate and say, I see you and I'm inspired by you. And I love the pivot. And for any listener that's thinking you can't pivot, Ashleigh and I are proof you can.
Over and over. And you must.
You must.
Forget about your niche. Forget about your niche. You know what? When you said this horse, you're not riding this horse anymore. I saw like Barbie, riding the horse and the paddle board and then the blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like, she's still Barbie. You know what I mean?
That's
and I
right.
have to have different vehicles. I don't want a horse anymore. I want a rocket ship. And then I want a buggy. And then I want and then I want a house in the middle of the woods that no one comes to.
Yeah.
This kind of experience, of this sort of like remote type, beautiful, like it's just pinch me. It's really great.
I dream like this is my heart's desire is to have multiple places I call home. Because I have realized with my wanderlust that it is about I need a change of scenery. I need a change of space. And so I long for an apartment in the city and a home in the country and, everything in between, an ocean home, lake home. And so that's where I'm headed is creating that
you
life.
need the visual environmental difference. You need a change,
Yes.
change of a scenery, right?
Yes,
like
exactly.
a movie goes to a different town and this part of the movie takes place in the mountains.
That's right.
And this part takes place at the beach, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
This is Brenda at the beach. This is Brenda in the mountains. This is Brenda in the middle of the country. Yes. So
you're going to need a locations manager. It's going to be amazing for the locations manager for the Brenda show. Well, you are your locations manager right now for the Brenda show.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ashleigh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you so much. Go check out Ashleigh's social media, connect with her there. She's brilliant. If nothing else, you're going to learn a lot by what she posts. And then go grab her books. So Swing is already out and Split is coming out. And remind us, it's spring 2025.
Yes, it's coming out April 2025. The pre-order link will be live probably end of January. So I'm not sure when people are listening to this, but we'll get that to Brenda's team as soon as we have it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Ashleigh.
Thank you, Brenda.
This conversation with Ashleigh really got me thinking about the ways that we can really tune into our own inner knowing, whatever that looks like. And one of the things that stood out to me was how Ashleigh was able to notice when something didn't feel good in her system and then make appropriate changes. And I'm referencing the conversation that she shared with her husband and her son about homework while they were watching sports. And I love how she mentioned that she gave herself permission to ask the question, is this really what I want? And does this feel right? And that stands out to me. Remember, this is your Yes Filled Life podcast. And so the hope is that you're out living that yes filled life of your own. So, invitation to tune into your body, to your wisdom, to your inner knowing, to really ask yourself the questions. Does this feel good? And if it does, great, do more of it. If it doesn't, there's an invitation there to have a conversation, to pivot, to make a different choice, and just to be intentional about creating this beautiful life. invitation to go get connected with Ashleigh. I've put all of her links in the show notes, including the place where you can get signed up for her wait list for her new upcoming book called Split. And don't forget to go grab your free energy audit. Spend 10 minutes to get a better understanding of what's fueling and draining your energy to change your life and have more energy, more bandwidth, more capacity, and that ultimate yes filled life. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.